rewatching Sinners right now, and I just paused the movie to make this video because I just finished watching the Rocky Road to Dublin scene. And I feel like what this scene really encapsulates is the specific type of horror and betrayal that comes about when people that are marginalized and disenfranchised in one way or another turn on each other and continue to perpetuate that horror without fully unpacking it within themselves. When we look at Remmick's backstory, he comes from Ireland. He comes from a place that has been colonized by Christianity, by the Brits. This is so powerful in that scene between him and Sammy at the end when Sammy is praying and Remmick is saying we were colonized essentially by the same religion. In this scene, Rocky Road to Dublin, what we see is him exerting like the vampiric will of the hive mind, and he is perpetuating his culture and essentially making his culture that was previously a victim of colonization. He is colonizing this group of Black Americans in the Jim Crow South. So because he hasn't undone any of that damage of what colonizing did to him, it is this truly horrific picture of someone taking that own pain and just continuing the cycle, colonizing from one people group to another, because the scene of him controlling the bodies and the minds of Black Americans in the Jim Crow South and literally forcing their bodies to do his cultural dance and forcing them to participate in his cultural values makes it something so vile and horrific. Zach was kind of nodding along to their song and appreciating their culture when they first played, but now it has become a tool of violence because he didn't get what he wanted. It's taking something that is this is something he was oppressed for, and now it is becoming the vehicle by which he is continuing this trauma, colonization, racism, oppression cycle. And I think that's what makes it so horrifying, is because of the total total lack of bodily autonomy he is granting these people. I'm sure there are other people that can say this in better ways than I do, but that is something that just stands out to me so well. God, I think this movie, I think the horror within this movie, I think the history within this movie, the commentary on race and class and different people groups interacting with each other and colonization and, is one of the most thematically deep movies I feel like I've ever seen in the level of quality it is able to deliver in its commentary on each of these themes. Oh my God. I hope it wins Best Picture.
We hungry as dogs.
Woof, woof.
You wouldn't mind us coming in now, would you? You fellers must be the owners of this establishment.
That's right. And you are?
Name's Remmick. This here's Joan and Bert.
Hey, Stack, y'all all right?
Oh, and you. Must be that voice I heard from out here. Oh, it was beautiful.
Goddamn beautiful voice.
Even through these walls.
Where y'all from?
Just down the road.
And how far is that?
North Carolina.
Y'all clan? You the devil, ain't you?
Sammy. You're the one I came for.
You keep dancing with the devil.
Of doom were nearly broken hearted salute to Father dear. Kiss me darling mother, drunk a pint of beer. My grief and tears to smother, then off to reap the corn. Leave where I was born, cut a stout black dawn to banish ghosts and goblins, brand new pair of roads. Rattling over the cross, frightened all the dogs on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put your hair and turn her down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin. The guys are Liverpool, safely landed on his waterpool. I couldn't go wrong, and the blood began to boil. Said that I was losing all their soul, taking down the people around his soul.
I'm tired of black people's creation and art get colonized. That dude sat up there on that red carpet and said that he pitched to Ryan Coogler 5 times of a spin-off or a sequel for Sinners, and he said no. In the beginning, he said that he actually said no, like straight up, and then he pitched the 5 ideas. So you kept trying to press him about it. We don't want a Remmick backstory. We don't need that. We understand that Remmick, he was a Celtic man, right? And the vampires, they came, they ate up his people, and then he came and he did the same thing to the natives, and then he did the same thing to the African Americans, right? And I understand that's an undertone for colonization. If y'all missed that, y'all a little slow, but that's all right. We don't need a backstory. I don't even want a backstory for the natives, right? I thought about, I was like, you know, it'd be cool if we had a backstory for the natives, but we don't even need that, right? This is a black-centered film about black folks. Our responsibility is not to include everybody else. That's not needed. And I saw some comments talking about how people were saying that the reason why that guy wants a Remmick backstory so that way they can clean up the image that was painted for Remmick in the series as this white devil, which is what he was. That was the entire point of the film. We don't need a backstory of you trying to clean up his picture and have us give sympathy for him. What he did was horrendous. How he did it was horrendous. There's no reason for a backstory. Y'all try to sugarcoat this and then, you know, try to make it all peaceful and be like, oh, well, he's actually a good guy and something bad happened. No, because y'all did the same thing in real life. We not finna give no sympathy for y'all for what y'all did when y'all still reaping the benefits of our ancestors till this day. No, we don't need no sequel. No, y'all go make your own vampire movies. Y'all got 1,500,000 vampire movies. We're just now getting accurate, like, very well written representation of black vampires. Why can't y'all just let us have one film? One film.
I know Ryan doesn't want a sequel, and I understand why. I have pitched him on about 5 or 6 of them, and everyone is interesting. And I think what's great about this world is that it's so unique and so specific to what it is. It makes it more universal. And then so people want to feel their own stories in these characters, in these moments, and meet characters that represent them and just want to see a lot more of them, whether it's Remmick or even Sammy. You know, what did he go through? You know, and so I think it just speaks to the experience people had when watching. I know Ryan doesn't want a sequel, and I understand why. I have pitched him in about 5 or 6 of them, and everyone is interesting. And I think what's great about this world is that it's so unique and so specific to what it is. It makes it more universal. And then so people want to feel their own stories in these characters, in these moments, and meet characters that represent them and just want to see a lot more of them, whether it's Remmick or even Sammy, you know.
If the creator of Sinners himself told you he does not want a sequel, then leave it alone. And my thing is, what are you talking about to see more of themselves in the character? The movie was about black people. The movie highlighted black American culture, the thing that white America has fought so hard to try to say does not exist. And on top of the movie being about black people, they even went the extra mile to highlight Asian American, Native American. The truth that a lot of people don't want to say, they were mad that a white man played the villain in the story, and the movie was unapologetically black. And this is why they got snubbed for any award. They want to turn the Sinners brand into something that white people can relate to.
I don't think Sinners is going to win a single Oscar, and let me tell you why. Sinners broke a record today with 16 nominations, more than any film in history. And while I feel that's a good sign that an incredible movie that should win awards will win awards, I think it's a false flag. The narrative around Sinners will be, well, regardless of whether or not it wins any awards, it still gets this prestige of being the only film ever to be nominated 16 times. And I think that lingering thought in the back of the minds of so many Academy voters is going to keep them from voting for performances in Sinners. The only possible locked category win that I see for Sinners is Best Original Song with I Lied to You.
Blues wasn't forced on us like that religion. No, sir. We brought this with us from home. It's sacred and big.
I just think for a lot of these other categories, the way that these Academy voters have voted in the past and the fact that Sinners is a horror film, they're going to be thinking, well, it already got 16 nominations, that's an achievement, and they're going to look at these other films more. It shouldn't be that way, but I fear that it will be that way.
Sinners is being blackballed by Hollywood because mediocre Caucasian gatekeepers don't want black directors or black leading men to succeed. Sinners, the vampire thriller from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, got rave reviews and has a ton of award buzz, and even swept some critic group honors this season. But here's the twist. Sinners isn't showing up where a lot of people expect it to, like at all. And I think they're manufacturing consent for them to not win any Oscars, which they should, especially in music and in cinematography. A couple weeks ago, Rolling Stone dropped their top 20 movies of 2025 list, and Sinners was nowhere to be found. That alone is controversial, and I think that was the point. But social media, including myself, is calling it the R word. And I basically think Rolling Stone is trying to be edgy by not putting one of the best movies of the year on the list, purposefully. Then Variety's year-end list just dropped. And from their critics, once again, Sinners was missing. I'm not surprised because Variety tried to call the movie a failure after one of the biggest opening weekends of any movie this year. Variety, rightfully so, got absolutely trashed for it. Critics who didn't include Sinners started getting hit back with angry posts, viral replies, and what some are calling an ultra-rigid consensus. And I gotta be honest, if you're critiquing art, especially movies, you need to hear other people's opinions too, and be ready for the blowback if you try to be edgy, for the sake of clicks especially. A good example is Train Dreams. I saw it last night and it was an okay movie. It's a movie about mortality and accepting that your time on Earth is temporary, in a period piece in the early 1900s. It was number 8 on Variety's list and number 4 on Rolling Stone's. I will never see this movie again. I will definitely go back and watch Sinners. Both movies were beautiful and shot well, but the cinematography in Sinners is breathtaking. Variety is also trying to tell me that Mission Impossible 7 was better than Sinners. What are you talking about? And Rolling Stone wants to say that The Phoenician Scheme and Eddington were written better and more entertaining than Sinners. No way. If you disagree with me, cool. Let's have a dialogue in the comments. But I'm not going to listen to some uppity critic tell me that that was a better movie. That's why I think